We're only a few miles from the ship. From the bridge, the shape of the helicopter can just be made out on the ice. And while we're out there in the open, 2 polar bears are on the loose. A mother and her cub approach the ship. These are the icons of Arctic wildlife. They look healthy. There are worries about the fate of polar bears as the Arctic ice retreats. But these 2 are clearly in great shape, and they delight the scientists on board. We press on further west. We're in waters with a very grim history. It was in these very conditions that literally dozens of expeditions tried and failed to make it through. Ships became trapped in the ice. The men on board weakened by scurvy, crippled by frostbite. The greatest tragedy was the Franklin expedition of 1845. In the channel we're in now, more than 100 men lost their lives. Look how things have changed. We have a sonar picture, not just of the Northwest Passage, but even of its seabed. A view unimaginable to the first explorers who weren't even sure the passage existed. There's also radar, probing ahead to detect the thickest ice. And there are satellite pictures. The ship's crew are blessed with modern technology, so we spring a little surprise. Captain, I'd like to show you what Sir John Franklin set off with when he came on his expedition to these very waters in 1845. So you've got Baffin Bay, as you have it here.
Yeah.
Lancaster Sound. Now,
Barrow Strait.
What's your reaction when you see quite a big blank area?
I think there was a lot of place to discover. I admire those guys when we read about their trip. I admire how they came around, and the result of what we have there, it's in a good part from what they did at the first time.
How difficult would it be for you to set off with this?
Set off with this? Hey, I wouldn't go the speed I'm going now.
We're now about halfway on our journey through the Northwest Passage. We're in the McClintock Channel, named after the man who discovered the remains of one of the great failures of Arctic exploration, the Franklin expedition of 1845. It's a really raw morning, -10, but with a 20-knot wind, and the sea all around us is starting to freeze. Conditions we can expect to see for the rest of our journey. Really raw morning, -10, but with a 20-knot wind, and the sea all around us is starting to freeze. Conditions we can expect to see for the rest of our journey. Our expedition continues even at night. This is the view speeded up. Floodlights pick out a route through the ice. It's a mesmerizing sight. We've now covered some 300 miles along a seaway that was sought after for so long amid so much hardship. We wake up to the lowest temperatures so far. Ice coats everything. Keeping the instruments going becomes a real struggle.
Well, it'll melt eventually, I suppose. But I don't want to go banging the ice off it because I'll wreck the cable that's attached in there.
But this is such a rare chance to gather data. The research operations continue non-stop. We head out with a team measuring the ocean currents. It's a pretty hair-raising experience. I've actually got a job to do here, which is to pull this thing. I feel very responsible.
Yeah.
For us, this is a taste of the reality of research in the Arctic.
Okay.
The bracket connecting us to the ship gets stuck in the cold. I try to free it. So does the officer in charge, Michel Dufresne. In a world of cutting-edge technology, we need something very simple. A hammer. Oh, well done. So we're off. We only travel a few hundred meters, but with the weather this bad, it feels much further. Look at the snow building up on the windscreen. But the researchers are used to this. They want to discover the turbulence of the ocean. This is the most detailed study of these waters so far. Well, we've been away from the ship for about an hour now, and it's pretty unpleasant, to be honest. The wind hasn't stopped, there's a light snow blowing, and all around us it's so cold the sea is starting to freeze. But all the time, this team of scientists and many others are just keeping going, gathering the data they need to help understand exactly how the Arctic is changing. Would you prefer it if the Canadian Coast Guard could go and patrol maybe the Bahamas?
I think not. That's what I like.
You like it up here?
Oh, yes, I do.
Why?
Well, personally, I'm a winter person, so I like being in cold. If you give me a choice of going to work at plus 30 or minus 30, I might choose minus 30.
David, how are you feeling?
But for us, getting back on board is a huge relief.
Something. Look at that. One dead one. We've killed the camera.
We killed the camera. The little one may be dead. We're quite dead, actually.
Okay.
And otherwise fine.
All right, get inside and get yourselves warm.
I know. The research here is never easy. This looks more like work on an oil rig. Here a net is hauled up from the seabed. The hope to discover the life forms down there. one bolt, a small prawn. What else have you got? Well, this time there isn't much. But another project involves extracting sediment. The mud may reveal clues about the past climate. This work is carried out by researchers from the University of Plymouth.
We're hoping to find about that much depth of nice, clean sediment that we can take sections of for our sea ice reconstruction.
So here comes the precious mud. It's tough going. But these samples could transform predictions about the Arctic climate. So does it look promising?
Yeah, it looks very good.
Each layer of mud contains hints about how the ice has advanced and retreated in the past. So it's sliced up and the samples got ready to be taken back to England. What's the value in knowing the past sea ice pattern?